This is a Danish English special report on Ukraine aid divides Denmark, donations or loan. Greetings and welcome to Danish-InfoNews TV special edition, where we take you inside one of the most important and most complex stories unfolding in Europe right now. As Ukraine faces a major corruption scandal at the highest levels of government, international support is beginning to slow. New data from Kiel Institute shows that global commitments may hit their lowest point since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. And here in Denmark, one of Ukraine's strongest supporters relative to national income, a heated political debate is reshaping the conversation. Should future aid be donations, as the government insists, or loans, as proposed by Danish People's Party leader Morten Messerschmidt? In this special report, we explore how Ukraine's anti-corruption probes reached inside its top ministries, why international aid is falling, and how Danish politics, economics, and national security coverage in the debate over Ukraine's future. Stay with us. This is Danish-InfoNews TV. Denmark balances Ukraine support aimed corruption scandal and domestic debate. Denmark remains one of Ukraine's most committed international partners, providing military, economic, and humanitarian support. Yet, domestic political debates are raising questions about the future of Danish aid, particularly as Ukraine faces high-profile corruption scandals and international support shows signs of slowing. Domestic debate: donations versus loans. Morten Messerschmidt, leader of the Danish People's Party (DF), has long criticized Denmark's Ukraine policy. In December of 2024, he called for a reassessment of Denmark's aid strategy, arguing that Ukraine may not win the war against Russia and that the government should prepare for a possible territorial concessions. Each time we spend 1 billion krona in Ukraine, it is money taken from Denmark, from welfare and domestic priorities, Messerschmidt said. He criticized southern European NATO allies, such as Italy and Spain, for contributing too little, arguing that Denmark is carrying an oversized burden. Messerschmidt called for Danish policy to reflect the real world, rather than idealistic scenarios where Ukraine wins the war 100%. He suggested negotiations could include territorial compromises for peace guarantees while opposing Ukraine's NATO membership during the ongoing conflict. Building on this, Messerschmidt now proposes ending direct donations to Ukraine once the Ukraine fund is depleted, suggesting future support take the form of loans. Messerschmidt argues that loans would allow Denmark to maintain financial support while freeing funds for domestic priorities, such as lowering food taxes. Denmark has contributed over 70 billion krona in military aid from 2022 to 2028. Loans would retain capital in Denmark rather than fully writing off expenditures as donations. Political pushback: Messerschmidt's proposal has been rejected by other center-right blue parties, including the Conservatives and Liberal Alliance, as well as the Social Democrats. Troels Lund Poulsen stands. Denmark's Minister of Defense is deeply opposed. He emphasized that economic support to Ukraine is critical for Denmark's national security. There is an urgent need to support Ukraine's fight for freedom. I will in no way support a proposal to only provide loans to Ukraine in the future, Paulson said. He rejects Messerschmidt's argument that loans would free up money for domestic priorities, stating, "It is not either or, it is both and." Danes will have more money in 2026 thanks to measures from the finance bill. I will not link food prices to support for Ukraine. Ukraine Fund context. Established in 2023 with broad parliamentary support, the Ukraine Fund initially had a 7 billion krona ceiling, focusing on military, civil and economic aid. Denmark recently surpassed 70 billion krona in military donations, leaving 1.9 billion krona for 2026 to 2028, making Messerschmidt's proposal a timely and contentious debate. Denmark's role: support with oversight and anti-corruption focus. Despite domestic political debate, Denmark continues to provide aid with a focus on accountability and governance. Anti-corruption initiatives. Denmark co-finances the EU Anti-Corruption Initiative, EU ACI, supporting Ukraine institutions, civil society, and programs promoting transparency. Reconstruction oversight. Denmark leads rebuilding efforts in Mykolaiv, emphasizing integrity to reduce fraud risk, including investigations into potential misuse in UN IOM projects. Broad support, military, economic, and humanitarian aid continues to be channeled through established mechanisms, including frozen Russian assets, ensuring oversight. Falling international support. Internationally, Ukraine is also experiencing a slowdown in aid. The Kiel Institute's Ukraine Support Tracker reports that new aid commitments in 2025 could reach the lowest level since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. Europe allocated 4.2 billion euros in new military aid in 2025, insufficient to offset the pause in US support. Total aid commitments for 2025 are 32.5 billion euro, below the 2022 to 2024 average of 41.6 billion euro, leaving a gap of 9.1 billion euro to reach previous levels. Donor disparities remain significant, with Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden contributing the highest relative aid. Germany, France, and the UK increase contributions, while Italy and Spain lag. Analytical note: domestic debates in donor countries, including Denmark, and high-profile corruption scandals in Ukraine may both contribute to slow down in international support. Messerschmidt's proposal exemplify how internal politics in donor countries can shape both the level and nature of foreign aid. Let's look at Ukraine's corruption scandal. Ukraine faces a major corruption crisis. Justice Minister German Goloshenko and Energy Minister Svetlana Grinchik resigned at the request of President Volodymyr Zelensky following NABU revelations of a large-scale money laundering scheme in the energy and defense sectors. Both ministers deny wrongdoing. The Energodom investigation. Bribes from contractors range from 10 to 15% of contract values. Wiretap code names: Tenor, Energodom Security Director; Racket, former Deputy Head of State, Property Fund; and Carlson, identified as Timo Mendik, a close associate of Zelensky and co-owner of Patel 95. Shadow management of Energadom, a company with turnover exceeding 200 billion hryvnia to the 4 billion euros per $4.63 billion. NABU has arrested 5 suspects so far, with 7 implicated in the network. European scrutiny. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz emphasized that Ukraine must address corruption to maintain international trust and support. The bigger picture. Ukraine's corruption scandals, domestic debates in donor countries like Denmark, and slowing international aid illustrates the complex interplay between governance, aid, and international solidarity. Ministerial resignations and investigations show anti-corruption institutions are increasingly active at the highest levels. Domestic political debates, including Messerschmidt's proposal and Paulsen's opposition, highlight how donor countries' politics influence aid strategy. Denmark continues to provide carefully monitored support, balancing immediate military and humanitarian needs with anti-corruption oversight, demonstrating that domestic debate and international commitment coexist. Thank you for watching this Danish-InfoNews TV special edition. Ukraine's future and Europe's security now depend not only on the battlefield, but also on trust, transparency, and political decisions made across the continent, including right here in Denmark. We will continue following this story as it evolves. The corruption investigations in Kiev, the shifts in global support, and Denmark's internal debate on how best to stand with Ukraine. If you want an independent, in-depth coverage from a Danish perspective with a global outlook, make sure to stay with us. Subscribe to Danish-InfoNews TV. Turn notifications. And support fact-driven journalism for an informed world. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next edition.